I didn't know much about it at all. So to start with, it was a real, it was a shock, and also you feel as if you just kind of plunged into not knowing. I think there's a great deal of fear at the beginning because you know what the worst case scenarios can be, and it's very difficult to find, I suppose, some balanced information, but also to appreciate what the balance is. So I think the main thing when you first diagnosed is fear. You're just looking into the unknown, and it's very scary. To start with, it was information when I was trying to get as much information as I could to understand what the disease is and how it's likely to affect you. I'd done a load of Googling, found loads of different sites, and what I found was there were a lot of sites where it felt that it was just too scary, where they were almost trying to paint it as just the worst thing that can happen to you. And then other sites where I felt that they were a little bit patronising and took a kind of there, it'll all be fine approach. And what I found with the MS Trust is that they had really clear information, very factual information, and it was just presented in an informative way that didn't patronise. I think since then there's been a lot of different things that the MS Trust has offered, and I think one of them was that it was through the MS Trust that I first got into fundraising, and it was through the fundraising that I then made a major change in my life, which was to change from the work that I was doing and open my own business. So that was quite different. It was with cakes and cake decorating. And then I think after that, where it's been important is that I've had the opportunity to be able to talk to health professionals who support people with MS, work with people with MS, do research into how to help people with MS, and to be able to talk to those people and maybe influence a little bit, I think is really positive. That's changed over time as my needs have changed. So to start with, he was, oh my goodness, he was just the all-knowing person who I could contact at any time. So I could contact by email, I could phone direct. So if anything was happening, then he was the person that I would go to straight away to talk to find out whether it was something that I needed to be concerned about. There was a couple of times when I took steroids to stop a relapse, which was done through Hussein, obviously. And then as time has progressed and I've become more confident in understanding what's going on, that sometimes he's been there for reassurance and encouragement and guidance. So, you know, to sort of encourage you to keep going, to keep exercising, to make the most of your life as well. One thing is to see if you can get in touch with somebody who has MS, somebody who was diagnosed a few years before. For me, that was just made such a difference. I didn't know anybody with MS, and it was a colleague who gave me the contact details of a close friend of hers who'd been diagnosed 10 years before. I had a 15-minute conversation with them, and it just made so much difference. I just felt as if I was speaking to somebody who understood in a way that somebody that doesn't have MS can't understand. So that was really made such a positive difference. And I think the other thing is, as you progress, a piece of advice that somebody gave me who doesn't have MS, but they said that what you need to do is always focus on what you can do and not on what you can't do. And I've followed that piece of advice for years now, and I think that just makes such a difference. So yeah, always focus on the positive and not the negative.